Hi and welcome to another English class. My name's Richard and I have over 20 years experience teaching English. Today in this class, which is class 3 of my advanced level English course, or level C1, we'll be looking at some vocabulary related to work. We'll be looking at some adjectives, we'll be looking at some nouns, and we'll be looking at some verbs. So let's not waste any more time. Let's begin the class. And we're going to start with some adjectives. Adjectives that we can use to describe a job. So down here I've got 6 adjectives. I've got challenging, tedious, demanding, monotonous, motivating, and rewarding. And on this side I've got 6 definitions. Everything takes a long time and it's boring. I have to do the same thing every day. It makes me happy because I think it's useful and important. It tests his abilities and keeps him motivated. It's very high pressure, requires a lot of skill, and you have to work long hours. The kind of work I do and the people I work with make me want to work harder and do better. So the idea here is to match these definitions with the correct adjective. So before we continue, let me read these sentences that contain examples of how we can use these adjectives. So number 1, he's an air traffic controller and his job is very challenging. He's an air traffic controller and his job is very challenging. Number 2, I work in the tax office and my work is very tedious. I work in the tax office and my work is very tedious. Number 3, being a brain surgeon is very demanding. Being a brain surgeon is very demanding. Number 4, I'm a production worker in a factory and my job can be a bit monotonous. I'm a production worker in a factory and my job can be a bit monotonous. Number 5, I work at Google and my job is very motivating. I work at Google and my job is very motivating. Number 6, teaching English can be very rewarding. Teaching English can be very rewarding. So I've already read the definitions over here. Now the idea is to match the definitions on this side with the adjectives on this side. So I'm going to count to 3 and then I'm going to show the answers. So if you need more time to think now, just put the video on pause and make a note somewhere of the answers to see how many of the definitions you can get correct. Okay, let's show the answers after 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, answer number 1, challenging. It tests his abilities and keeps him motivated. It tests his abilities and keeps him motivated. Challenging is something that's difficult to do, but difficult to do in a positive way because it motivates you. Number 2, tedious. Tedious. Everything takes a long time and it's boring. Something that takes a long time and is boring is tedious. Number 3, demanding. It's very high pressure, requires a lot of skill, and you have to work long hours. So demanding, similar to challenging, very similar to challenging. Next we have monotonous, and the definition of monotonous was I have to do the same thing every day. Very monotonous, very repetitive. Number 5 was motivating. The kind of work I do and the people I work with make me want to work harder and do better. And finally, rewarding. It makes me happy because I think it's useful and important. If you think you're doing something worthwhile, it's rewarding. Okay, very good. Let's continue And here we have two important words, job and work. What is the difference between job and work? So first of all, job. Job is a countable noun. That means it can have a plural form and refers to an official activity that one does in order to receive wages or a salary. Wages and salary are similar. They're the money that you receive for doing work. We'll look at those two words later. So job, it's countable. For example, when he was a student, he had two jobs. I don't have a job at present. He's trying to get a job. I'm thinking of applying for a new job. Did they offer you the job? She took a job as a waitress. So job is what you do to earn money. And work is an uncountable noun and has a more general meaning than job. It refers to any sort of mental or physical activity, but especially as part of a job. So work is more general. It can be anything, any activity that you do that requires physical or mental force or activity, but especially as part of your job. So here's some examples. I'm exhausted. There was a lot of work to do at the office today. A lot of work. So remember, work is uncountable. We can't say works. Another example, gardening is good fun, but it can be hard work as well. So work is the activity that you do as part of your job. Another meaning of work as a noun is it can also mean the place where you do your job. For example, I go to work by car. John is at work right now. You know, he's in his office. He's at work. Notice we say at work. Secondly, work is also a verb. So work is also a verb which means do something that involves physical or mental effort, especially as part of your job. So this is similar to the noun meaning, but here it's a verb. I can't work if I'm cold. I always work hard at school. So job, countable noun, that means the thing you do to earn your money. Work, uncountable noun, which refers to the activity of doing your job. And also work is a verb. So let's continue with some more nouns to do with work that are often confused. For example, here I have three nouns: career, post and profession. So first of all, career. Career is the series of jobs that a person has in a particular area of work. For example, it's difficult for a woman to have a successful career and bring up children at the same time. So your career is your trajectory in your professional life. That means that it's not just one job. You leave university and you get a job, and then maybe you stay in that job for some time, and then you change to another job in the same area, and then maybe you get promoted. Normally with your career you would hope to start at a lower position and move to a higher position. You could even change career. You could leave university and start working as a marketing manager, and then later on you could become a teacher teaching marketing in the university, and you would change your career from marketing to teaching. So it's different from some other languages. For example, Spanish. Your career is the series of jobs that you do throughout your life. What about post? A post is a job, especially an important one in a large organization. I guess another word synonymous with this could be position. Here's an example. He applied for the post of human capital manager at a large multinational. So he applied for the post, or he applied for the position. Next we have your profession. A profession is a type of job that needs special training or a skill, especially one that needs a high level of education. Lawyer, or law, I should say law. Law is a profession. Medicine is a profession. Teaching is a profession. Next we have 4 words related to money or other things that you receive for doing your work. We've got wages, salary, bonus and perks. We already saw wages and salary on a previous screen. So wages, a regular amount of money that you earn usually every week for work or services. For example, wages were paid on Fridays. And salary, money that employees receive for doing their job, especially professional employees or people working in an office, usually paid every month. So in the past, I think, wages was paid to manual workers and salary was paid to professionals or management. What we call, another 2 words we have in English is white collar workers. White collar is workers who work in an office, professionals, and blue collar workers. Blue collar, this is the collar of my top or my shirt. Blue collar workers were production workers and manual workers. So blue collar workers used to get wages and they were normally paid every week, and white collar workers used to get a salary which was paid every month. Today, many people are paid every month. Even blue-collar workers or manual workers are paid every month. So, very similar words. And here I have the example of salary. Doctors in the UK usually earn a monthly salary of £2,900. Next we have bonus. Bonus is an extra amount of money that is added to somebody's wages or salary as a reward. For example, the company made a big profit last year, so all the staff received a bonus. So next we have perks. Perks are something you receive in addition to your salary, but not money. Perks offered by the firm include a car and free health insurance. So you could get, you could get a laptop, you could get a cell phone, you could get a car, you could get a discount maybe on certain goods if you work for a company. All of these things are perks. Very good, let's continue. So here on this screen we have some more nouns. We have staff, we have employee, and we have employer. So first of all, staff. Staff is an uncountable noun, so it doesn't have a plural. And it refers to all the workers employed in an organisation considered as a group. For example, the hospital staff cared for me so well. The hospital staff cared for me so well. All the people who worked in the hospital. And an employee is a countable noun. It's a person who is paid to work for somebody. For example, they have 8 full-time and 2 part-time employees. They have 8 full-time and 2 part-time employees. And an employer is a person or a company that pays people to work for them. For example, he's not a very generous employer. He's not a very generous employer. He doesn't pay his employees a very good salary, or he doesn't pay his staff a very good salary. Next we have skills, training and qualifications. So skills, or a skill, is a particular ability or a type of ability. For example, I went on a course to improve my computing skills, to improve my ability at working with computers. And training is the process of learning the skills that you need to do a job. Training is like learning. Volunteers will undergo intensive training. Volunteers will undergo intensive training. And finally, qualifications, an exam that you have passed or a course of study that you have successfully completed. So qualifications are what you receive when you go to college and you go to university and you take some course, and at the end you take an exam, normally with qualifications, you will have some sort of certificate. So the example I have is he left school with no formal qualifications. He left school with no formal qualifications. Okay, let's continue. Finally, on this screen we have collocations. Collocations are words that, or combinations of words that happen often, that are commonly used together. For example, the first one I have is in charge of. So it's three words that commonly go together. And in charge of means in control or with overall responsibility. In control or with overall responsibility. An example, the sales manager is in charge of the sales department. He's the person with the responsibility for the sales department and also the one who controls the sales department, the one who gives the orders, the person who tells everybody else what to do. He's the boss. Deal with. Deal with. To do something about a person or a thing that causes a problem or a difficult situation. If you work in a place and you have, in a store for example, or a shop, and an angry customer comes in and starts shouting at you, you need to deal with that angry customer, if that's your responsibility. For example, I have to deal with some very difficult clients. Here I put clients. In the other example I just gave, I said customer. The difference between customer and client is that a customer just comes and buys one thing, and a client is somebody who returns to buy the same product or the same service many times. Responsible for means having the job or the duty of doing something so that you may be blamed if something goes wrong. For example, Mike is responsible for designing the entire project. So if something goes wrong, it's Mike's fault. Get a raise. What does it mean? It means receive an increase in salary or wages. I hope I get a raise this year because my wages are very low. I hope they increase my salary. Get a raise. Next we have to be sacked, to be fired, or to be dismissed, which three words are synonymous, only sacked is informal British English, fired is informal American English, and dismissed is formal English in both American and British. So for example, he was always late, so he was sacked. Or he was always late, so he was fired. Or he was always late, so he was dismissed. So next we have self-employed. What does self-employed mean? It means working for yourself and not employed by a company or another person. For example, I'm a self-employed English teacher. I don't have a boss. I work for myself. I'm self-employed. And finally we have two collocations that are related, part-time and full-time. Part-time means working only part of the hours of a week during which people normally work, and full-time means working all the hours of a week during which people normally work or study rather than just part of it. So she's a part-time nurse. She only works 20 hours a week, and he's on a full-time contract, so he usually works 40 hours a week. So part-time is usually less than 30, I guess, and full-time over 35. I mean, it depends on the country that you're in. Okay, with that, I think I've finished this class. So thank you very much for watching till the end, and I hope to be back soon with more classes in this course, my advanced level English course, level C1. Hope to see you soon. Bye.